Hey, hey, unstoppable you crew. Quick vibe check. On a scale from 1 to I feel personally attacked by my transformation goals. How are you feeling today? Well, I promise that by the end of this episode, I'll have you at least up one notch. All right, so let's get into it. Today, I want to talk about the transformation trap and why change feels so hard and how to keep going, right? Because we feel stuck sometimes and we don't know how to move past that. Transformation sounds magical until it feels like an emotional roller coaster with no seatbelt. Ooh, imagine going upside down and falling. Um, I really want to talk about it today. So let's get into it. If you've ever started transformation all pumped up only to come slap into a wall, you know what? Maybe I'll just stay the same forever. These are the things that we say, right? Well, congratulations. Um, you've met the transformation trap. I know I've been there a lot. But don't worry, we're busting. We're like crashing right through it today. By the end of this, I'll have you really evaluating whether it's worth being stuck in that transformation trap. So, why does transformation feel so hard? Let's be honest. When we're used to doing things a certain way and we've been doing it for years, or just a really long time, it's hard to break out and really see transformation as even a possibility. Let's talk about the expectation versus the reality, um, and what that problem entails when we're looking to transform. We expect transformation to feel like a movie montage. Suddenly you're fit. Suddenly you're successful and you're glowing. But the reality, it's mostly crying in your car, wondering why the heck does change take so long? Why? I want to know. Your brain, guess what? It thinks you're in danger. Your mind, it sees change and it panics. Oh my God, alert, alert. The alarms are going off, right? We don't know what's happening. Better sabotage immediately. We know that's happened, right? I know it's happened to me way too often. That's why sticking to old habits is easier. It seems easier. Your brain is thinking it's keeping you safe. Mm. And then there's a dip, right? It feels worse before it feels better. Every transformation has an ugly phase. This is where most people quit. And I'm telling you, full transparency, I've done this a numerous amount of times. More than I care to admit, but I've been there. It's like growing out bangs, awkward, messy, but you push through or you'll be stuck in Regretville. Mm. Now, for you guys that have not had bangs, You might cut your hair too short and wish you hadn't because maybe you weren't ready to let go of your locks that quickly. Maybe you needed to start a little bit smaller, but now you got to work through it, right? How do you push through and keep transforming? Growth isn't linear, and trust me, that's normal. Stop expecting a perfect upward curve. It's more like Wi-Fi in a bad spot, up, down, glitchy, but still connected. You know, when you're recording a video and then your face freezes in this crazy, awkward, like, yeah, it looks pretty bad, right? So here is where I want to bring in how you can reframe your setbacks, right? That's part of my coaching um, that I teach my clients. It's reframing. And so how do you do that? You you see the failure as feedback, feedback from your experiences. Um, it's not proof that you should quit, right? Because feedback, if someone is giving you feedback or your experiences are giving you feedback, yeah, our instinctual humanity steps in to try to protect us, and it's time to quit because something doesn't feel right, right? And that's okay. But when you're acknowledging that, you use that feedback your specific situation is giving you, and you kind of ask yourself very important questions. Um, will this make me fall back into old patterns? Uh, and will will it mean that I'm a failure? No. Falling back into old patterns doesn't mean you failed. It just means you're learning, right? And when you're trying to break those habits that those old beliefs that you've carried on for years and years and years, that's going to take some time. It doesn't happen overnight. Instead of asking questions like, why am I struggling? Ask yourself something different, like, what am I learning? What is there to learn from this experience? Go back to your why and make it stronger than your excuses. When you feel like quitting, remind yourself, why did I start this in the first place? And no, because it seemed cool on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok isn't a strong enough reason. But those are the excuses that some of us will make, and that's also okay. The beauty about being on this journey of transformation is that we can fall, and falling does not mean failure. Falling is just another way of learning from yourself that you are growing, learning, and you can try again. All right, so keep that in mind. I also want you to remember that small steps keep the momentum going. You don't have to do big things all the time. And I've said this on numerous occasions, but you don't have to just go jump out of the plane without a parachute and fall flat on your face and get splattered all over the place. I know, very dramatic, but it's the truth. Just start small, you know? Start small and do one small thing each and every day. Small changes do matter. Instead of trying to literally overhaul your whole entire life in a week, just stack teeny tiny wins each and every day. And those small wins, when you look and you are consistent, you'll see it becomes huge because it's those small things that will help make the bigger steps a little bit more a lot more easier, actually. Small steps, one small step at a time. If you can't run a marathon, as an example, that's okay. You can put your shoes on. That's a step. Even if you take 3 or 4 steps out the door and you're like, I don't want to do this, that's okay. You already took 3, 4, 5 steps, however many steps it took after you put on your shoes. That's a win. Boom. That's simple. See? Small steps, little things. It's easy to give up when we are working on our transformation and things are not looking like we want them to look. It's easy to say, this is too hard. It's easy to say, I'll never be able to. I've always been a fail. Whatever story you give, whatever story you tell to yourself when you look in the mirror, whatever story you tell other people about your past failures, it's easy to say, you know what, this is too hard. I'm not going to do it. I'll just stick where I'm at. And then you're trapped. But it's just as easy, again, and I'll reference back that 5K, right? Not everybody can run a 5K. Some people can barely do, 100 yards, but they start somewhere. Some people, it even comes to like when walking. I remember when after years of not exercising like consistently, and I decided that I was going to walk 5 miles, right? So now you take several years of not doing any of that. And I wanted to walk 5 miles. I mean, I walked it because I pushed myself through it, but I was in pain. And then the next day, when I wanted to do it again, I really didn't want to do it because I was in pain from the fact that I had not, one, I did not stretch. I didn't really take a lot of things into account. I was trying to do too much all at once, and it was like me jumping out of the plane and splattering all over the ground. Not smart. But I did it and somehow I made it. But I learned and I realized that just taking very small steps. And so, what I committed to, instead of walking 5 miles, which if you're not exercising, and it doesn't matter big, small, whatever your body type, if you're not doing things consistently on a daily basis, little things at a time, and then you try to cram everything, it's like studying for an exam that, maybe you were partying out all week, all month, and then you have this exam at the end of the year and you're trying to cram in this thing all in, the last day, the night before. And some people do that, but and they wind up doing really well on the exam, but mostly it's just extremely stressful. So even if you pass, like, was the stress of waiting till the last minute or trying to cram everything all at once, was that really worth it? So these are the things that you want to consider, and that's part of the feedback that you get from your experiences, right? You get that feedback in the form of either um, the stress that you're feeling and maybe feeling like you've done way too much over your head. But it just takes you realizing, recognizing that these are things that you've been doing, and you just want to make different small changes so that things are not so difficult and you don't wind up getting caught in this transformation trap of just not moving forward because things are too difficult, either because of the actions you took that were too much, too overwhelming all at once, or that you just weren't taking any action at all, or you were stuck in your old limiting beliefs about what you can't do because up until this point you've failed each and every time that you've tried to do something. So, I want to do a quick check-in with you. How's your transformation energy, knowing that all you have to do is just a little bit at a time? And remember that no matter what it is that you do, all you have to do is one small thing and stack those small things one on top of the other, on top of the other. And when you're looking in the future, you'll see that those small steps led to the big dreams that you wind up eventually manifesting and fulfilling, and seeing that transformation occur because you were doing it one bit at a time. Did did you nudge even just a little bit? Because even if it was just a teeny tiny bit, it's more than it was at the start of this video. It's it's not about perfection. It's just about action. You don't have to overhaul everything, just one small, tiny shift each and every day. Transformation isn't about getting it perfect, it's about keeping going. Keep showing up, keep taking small steps, and I promise one day you'll look back and you'll realize you've become unstoppable. And remember, it's the small steps that lead to the greatest successes in any area of your life, especially when you've been used to doing things a certain way. And you'll hear me say this from time to time, and this is the perfect time, I believe, again. If you've always done, if you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you've always gotten. And so I'm I'm reaching out to you and I'm saying to you that change in small, tiny ways leads to the big changes. And that begins to shift your life from one of always doing the same thing and continuing to get the same result, asking why, how come I'm still in this situation. You're able to pull yourself out, right? So I hope that this short video has given you something to think about, and that you'll realize that with just taking small steps towards whatever goals you have, it's a step in the right direction. And if you fall, it's okay. There's always a lesson to be learned from falling. And it's like any other individual who has ever accomplished anything, anyone who's ever put any work into anything that they've done, whether it's been personal transformation and invention, writing, art, anything, it's because they did a little bit all the time, and that brought what they wanted, or began to really show and have themselves, more importantly, see that they're capable of doing anything if they just believe in themselves. And that's partly what I'm asking you to do, is to believe in yourself, believe in your abilities to achieve all the things that you want in life. Continue to be unstoppable. Keep going no matter what. And if you fall, it's okay. You're not a loser. You don't suck. Just get back up again, dust the dirt off, and take another small step. Leave a comment and just let me know how you're going on with life and how you're going on with your transformation journey. I'm here. I am sharing things that I've learned and experiences and tools that will help you to continue to grow. And I really just want to, and I continue to practice doing and being the change that I want to see in the world. Because you do matter. You are important. You are worthy. I hope that right now in this moment, you have gotten something that will help you to take that first step. If this is you beginning your journey to transformation, don't get caught in the trap. And if you fall, it's okay. And if you need support, all you have to do is ask. I'm sure that you have many out there, but if you can't find anyone, reach out to me, leave a comment. I'm happy to connect with you. And until next time, toodaloo, darlings.